How these two so emerged. Why these two communal organization is emerged? Why? What was the background for the communalism in India? See here, communalism is a modern sense. This was originated due to the British rule. Prior to that, all religions of India lived together, died together, and lived under the same sun, but there was no communalism. Though Muslims were ruled, but there was no communalism. But Britishers are only the people encouraging the communalism in India. So during the 1857 revolt, all the people are combinedly waged war against the British rule. Throughout the British rule, in the first Sipahi War, first war of independence. But while suppressing the 1857 revolt, Britishers are made. This 57 revolt is the largely responsibility of the Muslims, so that while suppressing the Sipahi mutiny, more than 27,000 of the Muslims were massacred at Delhi alone, making the Muslims responsible for the outbreak of the 1857 revolt. Thus, the Britishers are followed the anti-Muslim and pro-Hindu policy after 1857. So this way, 1858 onwards, Britishers followed anti-Muslim and pro-Hindu policy. So because 57 revolt is Bahadur Shah Emperor declared as Emperor of India, so that Muslims are mostly responsible for outbreak of the 1857 revolt. Thus, more than 27,000 of the Muslims were massacred at Delhi alone. So this way, the anti-Muslim policy. But when Indian National Congress is emerging and demanding representative institution in India, introduction of representative institution in India, then the Britishers are followed. Anti-Hindu and pro-Muslim policy encouraging Sir Syed Ahmad Khan also to transform into pro-British. So this is the pro-British Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. Earlier, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan was also nationalist. He was also spoke in favor of the unity of Muslim Hindus of India, but now turned against the Indian National Congress and pro-British and the anti-Hindu, anti-Congress man to get separate favoritism, concessions, and also employment to the Muslims and concessions in trade and industry. For that, he became a pro-British, anti-Congress, anti-Hindu. Because in Indian National Congress is demanding representative institution means majority rule. Majority rule means the rule. So that is way. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, Muslim League, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan became pro-British, anti-Hindu, anti-Congress man. Thus gathered all the Muslims, the fanatic Muslims under him, under his banner. So this is way Sir Syed Ahmad Khan played in the hands of the Britishers. Then another one is that the cause between the rise of communalism in India is that Muslims are educationally and and trade, education and trade and industry backwarded. Why the Muslims are backwarded? Hindus are advanced because Muslims are rulers before the British. Muslims are rulers before British as a Delhi Sultans and Mughals. The ruling power is grasped from the Muslims taken from the Muslims by the Britishers. So mostly so that the Muslims are developed ego feeling so that they did not embrace the English Western education. They did not enter into trade and commerce. They did not enter into industries. The backwardness of Muslims, forwardness of Hindus in English education and in trade and commerce and industry. All the way a century in advance by the Hindus. A century was backwarded by the Muslims. This backwardness of the Muslim, advancement of Hindu intellectuals in the education and trade and industry and in employment. When English, whoever gaining, automatically getting employment. But Muslims are not getting employment, not entering into trade because they were not compromising British institutions. So that they were not entered into trade, they were not entered into industry, they were not entered into employment of the British. So this is where the very backwardness of the Muslim intelligence here and there, they growth, but their strength was very low. But whereas Hindu intellectual class strength was much. The landlord, Jamindars, leadership out of their influence. But whereas Muslims are still dominated influence of the Nawabs, landlords, Jamindars of the Muslims. So, anyway, the Jamindars, landlords are naturally supporters of this. Even in the Hindus also, landlord Hindus and landlord Jamindars of Hindus were supporters of the Muslims. Not supporters of but here, English educated classes are much in strength, but whereas Muslim educated class very minor, so that automatically minority classes were dominated by the Nawabs and the Jamindars of Muslims, so that they influence over the Muslim masses. Muslim masses, see here, Muslim masses were also suffering in the hands of the British. Muslim masses were suffering in the hands of British rule. So British rule is the rule of Indian Congress or Hindu Congress, whatever way, the Indian Congress wanted to unify all the people of India based on the economic explanation of the English rule. Against this, they wanted to gather the people. And also wanted to introduce benevolent rule in India. And that was the way, the second way Indian Congress is working, but whereas the Muslim and also in the course of the period, another one is that by 1887, 1885 onwards, the Muslim visitors became anti-Hindu and pro-Muslim and providing employment to the and providing scholarship and training that they want to divide and rule past imposed in India to continue the rule, thus playing the one against the other. And also not only this, they were also playing the region against religion. and so playing against the caste against the another caste. Brahmin, because India is all dominated by Brahmin. Brahmin against neighboring movement in India. And the two Sarjan encouraged. So this way the Congress, the rulers are everywhere they wanted to in Indians on the name of caste, on the name of region, on the name of dominance of the region, and in the way sectarian divide rule policy is followed by the way ultimately the encouragement of the Britishers. 1906, Dhaka Nawab was formed League Party, and that the 1906 Muslim League Party formed here. Already the cultural aspects, though the masses of the Muslim, masses of the Hindus were excited by the but they culturally Hindus are somewhat, but there was no anti-feeling in between them prior to British rule. The anti-feeling in between them, in between the thus communalism is a modern aspect introduced by the colonial rulers in India. So this way, encouraging one community against another community created communal thus in the Muslim League 1906, the Hindu Mahasabha is also encouraging Hindus also. They became Sir Raja Shiva Prasad of Banaras, captured by Britishers, and anti-Congress. He was turned against the anti-Congress, pro-British, pro-British and also anti-Muslim way. Hindu Mahasabha was also established in 1909. Punjabi Sikhs were formed Hindu organization by 1915. Two rival organizations are formed. One is Hindu Mahasabha for the interest of Hindu against the Congress, and also party for the protective interest of Muslims against the Indonesian Congress and against the Hindu. These rival organizations create or emerged due to the another aspect is that here Hindu Mahasabha is organized anti-cow by 1890, anti-cow slaughter, anti-cow slaughter movement. Cows are the helping agriculture to save cow. Slaughtering of cows has to be stopped. That is the movement raised by Mahasabha. This is quite opposite to the Muslims. Muslims are eaters of the cows, but Hindus are not eaters of the cows. You will not believe. So, in the British Army, the cow mutton was also supplying in the army. So, this is a feeling of antagonism developing the Muslims and the Hindus by anti-cow slaughter movement. Militant nationalist, militant nationalist movement, though it is nationalist movement, but they were introduced to gather the masses of India or the peoples of India, they introduced the Ganapati festival education, and also Shivaji festival, and also Rana Pratap. Rana Pratap was a hero, fought against the Akbar. Maharaj, Rajput Raja, Rana Pratap Singh, praised as a hero, fought against the continuously subordinated to the Akbar the Great. So that Rana Pratap Singh was a hero, and Shivaji is the great hero, and fought against the Aurangzeb. That is the way. Also, militant nationalist preachings, though they were not anti-Muslims, but their preachings are in Bengal also Durga Mata, slogan, Bharat Mata, Vande Mataram, Bharat, Jai Bharat. So this is a slogan, Kali Puja, Durga Mata, gathering the masses. This was also encouraged capture the Muslims people into their side. So thus Muslim organization, though a little strength, but it became strengthened day by day. Another one is that Sar Hindu period is ancient period, is a glorious. Muslim period is a dark period. Muslims suppressed the Hindus, Hindu culture. This was also supported by Hindu Mahasabha. Muslim period is a dark period. There was no progress, but Hindu period, the wonder that was India, is written by A.L. Basham. So English is wonderful India in the ancient period, but medieval India snubbed as a dark period. Indian history is divided into three periods: ancient period, medieval period, modern period. So ancient period is a glorious, medieval period is a dark period, and modern period is British period, is a enlightened period. So modern rationalistic period. That was way they were written. So this historical fault dividing these three into three periods and snubbing the medieval period as a dark period is also developed a kind of anti-Muslim. So that is way anti-Muslim feeling further increased, dividing of the India into three periods by rating the Indian history into three periods by J.S. Mill, first Indian history writer. So then this way. Another one is that the another Indian National Congress, though Muslim these militant nationalist agitation for the gathering of masses. However, by World War came, by this period, World War came, World War period, what was happened? So this is way the anti-Hindu, anti-pro-British feeling of Muslims. This way, communalism is emerged in India because of the encouragement of British rule and also because of the militant nationalist slogans of Durga Mata, Bharat Mata, and Vande Mataram song, and also another one is that Shivaji, great hero, Rana Pratap, great hero. This type of feeling, and the Hindu Mahasabha is organizing. So this way, the differences between the Muslims and Hindus were increased. However, under these circumstances, World War II, World War I, 1914 to 1918, World War I, then India is involved into World War I without taking the confidence of Indian World War I by 1908, Balagadar Tilak was arrested, sent to the Mandalay jail for 6 years. By 1914, Tilak was released from Mandalay jail. Tilak was also in the beginning supported to the British rule and World War I, but in the course of the period, Tilak by 1915, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, stalwart of the Congress, but here organization now ex-Muslim Congress was split groups in from 1997. The Congress was organization of moderates. Now extremists are Tilak or other militant nationalists or extremists were expelled from the Congress. Now Gopal Krishna Gokhale was died. Then Balagadar Tilak released from jail. So then Tilak was accepted as a All India leader because of the vacancy of the stalwart leader of the moderates. So thus Tilak was accepted as a All India leader of the Indian National Congress. Thus Congress is United Congress is emerged from Lucknow session of the Indian National Congress of 1916. This meanwhile World War I already started. World War I, who are the powers were struggling in World War I? World War I, England and France and see the England and France, Japan was one side. Later Italy, America also joined towards to the side of England and France and Japan. So thus these are one side. Germany and Austria-Hungary and Turkey was other side. Thus Turkey was opponent to the English. So thus the World War I. So Turkey is opponent. So this is where Turkey and Muslims only where in war where in Eastern Europe, Constantinople and but Istanbul was the capital of the Turkey. These are all in the Eastern European. So that Europeans are fighting against the Turkey. So that Turkey was on the side of Germany, Austria-Hungary, or these two are others, three are others on other side against the England. So this is way against the Turkey, majors of the England. So the Muslims of India also because of the Khalifa affecting religious head, political head of the Turkey, religious head of Khalifa is affecting. So that Indian Muslims also gathered, young Muslims also gathered and roared against the England, and thus this way young Muslim nationalists, young Muslims also joined hands with the Indian National Congress at Lucknow. Lucknow session is the unity of all means all India, because Muslims are united. The Indian National Congress was united, and this two-way results unity of Muslims, and thus under one banner all these were united. Under these circumstances, the World War I was in progress. Germany was getting victories over the Russia, over the England. So England nation was under pressure of the German attack. So under these circumstances, Indian nationalists are thought, Indian Congress leaders, Balangadar Tilak and Theosophical Society headquarter Adayar, from Adayar, Anibisant. These were in India. These were also at the same time the Irish national movement, other national movements, self-rule movements, home rule movements were prevailed in other not only in India, outside the India. So Indian national leaders, Balangadar Tilak and Annie Besant and S. Subramanyam Iyer formed the home rule leagues in India home rule leagues in all over India. From Maharashtra, Balaganadhar Tilak formed home rule leagues. See here, 1916, Lucknow Pact is a bridge between all the people of India gathered under one leadership. But this Lucknow session, Indian National Congress, is accepted the communal electorates which were given to the Muslims. So that is reason Muslims also joined into the Indian National Congress. So that thus communal electorates, once Indian National Congress from its session accepted communal electorates, communal legislatorship to the Muslims. So it is clear cut, no way for thereafter Indian National Congress did not oppose the communal electorates. Thus, this measure is an adverse measure for the division of India. Once Congress is accepted, that is continued in all the reforms of India. So this is a blunder mistake done by the Indian National Congress, accepting the communal electorate. So this is also first 1909 Minto Marley reforms laid the foundation for the division of India. 1916 Lucknow Pact with the Muslims and also laid the foundation for the division of India by accepting the communal electorates to the Muslim. Thus, the second major blunder mistake done by the Indian National Congress accepting the communal electorate. This is also due to this, Muslims are joined in the Indian National Congress, United List, United Forum. But under this circumstances, the other side is that Indian National Congress or the Balaganadhar Tilak formed the home rule leagues in Maharashtra and became a champion of home rule movement from Maharashtra through his newspapers of Marathi in English, Kesar in Marathi, and also the Unibicent formed home rule leagues, thus agitated for the self-rule, home rule, when Britishers were under the World War. Due to World War, what happened in India? Prices of commodities have increased. To meet the expenses of the World War, Indian people, peasants and others were paid large type of taxes, and also food grains were sent. Thus, this is way the British rulers, the commodity scarcity of commodities, scarcity of the increasing prices, the goods, means this type of situation created in India. Under these circumstances, under this, England was bombarding through the German bombs. Under this, the pressurization to pressurize the England to give home rule, self-rule. At the same time, in Ireland also, Ireland was a part of England. Self-rule movement was started. So this way, home rule movement started in India by Balaganadhar Tilak, and we sent. Due to this, Balaganadhar Tilak was house arrested in Maharashtra from Pune, not to go out of the Pune, and the Magnificent was arrested at Uta Command, and also her agents, secretaries are also arrested. So thus all India, the home rule movement became a all India movement, pressurized the Britishers. Thus unity of the Muslim and all India nationwide movement of home rule movement, self-rule movement asked the introduction of reforms in India. Due to the pressurization of the home rule, from 1917, Secretary of State for India announced in British Parliament in India. Also, American President Woodrow Wilson also pressurized on England to give democratic institution India to get more support from India, Indian leaders. Thus, in India, Muslims and others are united. So that is way to break the unity of India and to get the support of India. Woodrow Wilson pressurized on England due to this pressure of the German war. Then England announced from its parliament by Montagu, Secretary of State, in England going to introduce what is representative institution in India based on the progressive realization, based on the step by step. This was way the announcement. Thus, as a result of announcement, Montagu came to India, met the Chelmsford, who was Viceroy, then Viceroy, and as a result of this announcement, 1919 reforms are introduced in India. This is way home rule movement, self-rule movement. The 1919 reforms increased the Indian association in the Legislative Council. Indians were elected directly. Earlier, 1909, Indians were elected based on the class, communities, Chamber of Commerce, capitalist, and other class interest way included the Indian members in the 1919 reforms. Now, elected members are increased, but the dual government is established at provinces. Diarchy established means reserved subjects under the governor and his ministry, responsible to the governor. The finance getting all protection, our home and defense, all important portfolios were under the governor and the governor under the deputies of his governor ministers. But transferred subjects, expenditure subjects were given to the elected members. That's diarchy is introduced in the provinces. Though elected members are increased, that elective principles are introduced in India. That is the 1919 reforms are introduced. As a result of this, moderate Congress leaders, Srinath Banerjee, Annie Besant, who was released from the jail by 1917, elected as a president of Indian National Congress. So she was released by 1918. Reforms are announced. Then Srinath Banerjee, Annie Besant withdrawn from the agitation. So thus Congress again here splitted into moderates group and extremist group again. So here the Congress leadership also divided into two, moderates and again extremists who are not satisfied with this 1919 reforms. So this is way the Congress again split. In 1907 split into two groups. In that 1907, moderates captured the Congress, expelled the militants, but 1918, moderates themselves are withdrawn from the Congress. It was it came under the leadership of extremists. 1916, also it came under the extremist leader, what is the Balangadhar Tilak. So anyway, this Congress again split into two groups. Thus, constitutional reforms are introduced in India. Now, this way, all united, Muslims are united, but after 1918, what was happened? All united Muslims and Congress leaders, all united. Congress united, Muslims are united, all united. Though what is happened? After end of the war, Turkey was punished. Khalifa. So on the name of why Turkey was punished? So that is the reason. Muslims of nationalists, younger people, in spite of the Muslim Nawab's domination of Muslim League, they were joined hands with the Congress under the leadership of the Mahatma Gandhi. So this is where the Muslims, the treatment given by the England to the Turkey, Turkey was punished. All its colonies were removed from the Turkey. Turkey was Turkey territories were all taken, given to the European countries. Eastern European countries are all liberated from the Turkish rule. Thus, Austria-Hungary punished, Turkey was punished. Against this punishment given to the Turkey, Muslims are roared against the British policies, anti-Muslim policy of and punishment of the Turkey. So this is a Khilafat issue, Khalifa issue. Then another one during this period, Al-Ijal, a newspaper of this, the Maulabul Kamalam, a young nationalist, and also Comrade, another Shaukatullah Madali newspaper, also banned. Muslim newspapers are banned. Thus, by 1918, all the Muslim, even Muhammad Ali Jinnah was also pro-Congress. He was a nationalist up to this. But later on, the subsequent events pushed Muslims. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who was earlier nationalist, young brother, practiced from Bombay. So many nationalists are from Badruddin Tabji and Ansari, Dr. Ansari. So, and other, the Muslims nationalists were Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. They were all Indian nationalists, joined the Congress against the British exploitative policies, economic exploitative policy and divide and policy. So this is why Muslims by 1819 joined hands with the Congress and followed anti-British policy. So this is a united struggle. Is it dangerous to the British rule? So due to that pressure, British government announced reforms from the British Parliament by his Secretary of State Montague. So this is where the Britishers are always, whenever the people are united, they were giving. They followed what type of policy? They followed the divide and rule policies. One, carrot stick. Carrot. Giving carrot means each rule to satisfy at least some of the people. And stick policy means whoever is not satisfied, those were punished through this using the stick or bombs or rifles. This way, they followed the three methods. One is divide and rule policy, encouraging one against another. One is one caste against another caste, one community against another community, and Brahmins against non-Brahmins. This is way encouraging, playing the politics of the people of India to continuance of British rule, divide and rule policy. And another one, carrot, reddish root, giving to the Indians to satisfy at least some of the people. And whoever is not listen, their reforms and their introduction of reform, those were suppressed under high heels of the British by arresting, harassing, imprisoning those people. Thus terrorist organizations are suppressed. In spite of this, terrorist organizations are also continuing in India. So this is why the bomb cult adopted by the young nationalists. Thus, the revolutionary organizations were spread all over India and outside India against the British rule, oust the British rule, working with a way to oust the British rule. British rule is exploitative rule. It is exploiting all the people of India, either Muslims or and also Hindus. All were punished or exploiting for enrichment of their nation. And thus, this is way the British rulers are fostering the Muslims by giving employment through the special favor and concessions in trade and industry, and thus encouraged the Muslim League Party members towards their side. Hindu Mahasabha against the Muslims, against the Congress is encouraged. However, this way, the feeling of divide and rule policy and reddish root reforms and stick policies followed to suppress the movement. In spite of that, home rule is succeeded, and the anti-partition movement also successful movement that restored the unity of Bengal, and also capital of India, Britishers shifted to India, Delhi, shifted to Delhi from Bengal to Delhi. So this is way home rule Swadeshi movement, boycott movement is also successful. Home rule movement also successful movement. World War pressure. England was facing crisis. Woodrow Wilson pressurization and agitations in the India for the self-rule, home rule by the Ani Besant and Balangadar Tilak and all other nationalists. That due to this, self-rule is announced in India. It is going, British Parliament aim is introducing self-rule in India based on the progressive realization. That was the way announcement came. Then again this way. So this movement of home rule movement is a successful. Constitutional reforms, last lesson, 7th lesson. Constitutional reforms means, what is that? Constitutional movement 1909, Minto Marley reforms. First constitutional reform is that 1892. First time Indian members were included into the Legislative Council, though in a direct way. But 1909, though official majority was there, Indian members were included in a large way, in a sectarian basis, class interest, capitalist, landlords, and district bodies. So this is a class interest, sectarian way included in the 1909 reforms. Indians were included into legislative councils at center and provincial level. Though official majority was there, at center and provincial level, power is still in the hands of the British. Under 1919, no way power is given to the Indians. But under 1919, diarchy, dual government is established, and the majority Hindus were included in the legislature through elective principle, accepting the elective principle, democratic representative institution introduced, majority were elected, but the power is diarchy. Under diarchy, ministries who are enjoying the money getting, land order, home affairs, defense of affairs, all important portfolios under the governor's hands. Governor made superior, veto power is given, but transferred subject only what is called the only not having any power. Expenditure portfolios are given to the Indian ministries, so that Indian ministries were not functioning properly because money is in the hands of in the portfolios of the governor people. So, but spending, where to spend? Where is money? Money is in the hands of the governor portfolios. But so this is way working diarchy is not. Still, this is not a democracy experimented constitutional reform. So the Congress is not satisfied with this. Power is no way transferred to the Indians. So started again agitation against under the leadership of the Mahatma Gandhi, Tilak Swaraj Fund. Balandar Tilak is also died by 1920. So that there was no stalwart leader in India. Under that circumstances, Gandhi emerged as a stalwart and mass leader. And under the Gandhiji leadership, all the sections of the people of India gathered through his new method of satyagraha, non-violence, and smooth pull agitation was launched by the Mahatma Gandhi under his leadership. Truth-based movement. This way, the Gandhiji leadership movement became a earlier. Even the militant movement also became a mass movement, all India movement. But still, large masses were not included. Peasants were not included. Only urban class intelligentsia, urban classes of people of India, students of India, women of India, only few people were entered into the Congress organization. Thus, this way, the all India, however, it became all India movement, but it is still lacked the support of masses. Thus, mass movement only can bend, force the British rulers to intervene, to pressurize on the British rulers, paralyze the administration. So that is the mass movement is emerged. All the sections of Indian people are gathered under the leadership. Thus, under the Gandhiji, the movement became all Indian National Congress movement became a mass movement. Though it was militant nationalist movement, also became an all India movement, but it was less mass movement. Students were gathered, students were punished, and students were expelled from the colleges, schools, national schools, and colleges established, national shops are established, boycott the foreign, burn the foreign, Swadeshi, passive resistance. But non-cooperation is also observed by all India, became movement, all India movement by militant nationalists. However, it was less mass movement. So, under the Gandhiji, it became a complete mass movement. So that is the reason the Indonesian Congress under the Gandhiji twisted to different turn to get the freedom for the India. Now, anyway, the constitutional reforms also ended, and the home rule movement is a successful movement. At least the 1990 reforms are introduced, diarchy is introduced. 1900. So, Vande Mataram movement is also successful movement, restored the unity of Bengal. Anti-partition movement is also successful movement. Thus, in spite of their suppressive beating of the Indians, the movement of terrorist movement also continued. Bomb cult movement also continued inside and outside of India. Thus, these movements ultimately, these movements yielded the results, restored the partition of Bengal, home rule, self-rule announcement came and resulted into Montague and Chelmsford reforms in India. So thus, I completed up to 7th unit. 2 blocks I completed, and the lesson, 5th lesson. Thus, thereafter, the rise of communalism in India due to the Jinnah, who was a pro Congress, nationalist Congress, young lawyer, turned towards a communalist by opening the Jinnah 14 point, demanding 14 points, and Hindus and Muslims are separate. Slogan was given by the Jinnah that was attracted. Already there was anti-cow slaughter movement. Then the Indonesian Britishers also favoring to the Muslims through the concessions of the employment, concessions in trade and industry. So this is way the interest, protect the interest of Muslims, Indian, some of the Muslims, sectarian Muslims, or even young, some of the Jinnah who was a patriot earlier, now became a sectarian and pro-Muslim, anti-Congress, anti-Hindu. So this is where the momentum is gathered later, ultimately laid the partition of India. So this is where these are the causes for the communalism in India. Communalism itself is developed by British rulers for the his divide and rule policy for continuance of his rule in India. Thus, encouraged the one community against another community, one caste against another caste, against Brahmins, non-Brahmin movement, against the Hindus, caste Dalits were all encouraged, the Dalit movement by Ambedkar and others. So that is way they encouraged one against another to continuance of their rule, and also criticizing Hindus or Muslims. In the India is a multi-religious, multi-caste, multi-race, so that they cannot rule unitedly. They cannot come to the conclude. They cannot come together at all. So that Britishers should retain power should be retained in the hands of Britishers only. Then only British will protect the interest of all the people. If Britishers are gone out from India, all the sections of India are based on religion, caste, and creed will fight together. So that the type of feeling is created by the British rulers. That is way communalism introduced in Indian politics by the British rulers. Right? Anything else? Dear students, are you followed my lecture? Hello, dear students. 1 minute is remaining for me to answer your questions. Hello, any doubts regarding my lecture? Ravali and other? And see, any doubts? Any doubts regarding my lecture? So any doubts, Ravali and others?
No doubts.
Hello?
No
Any
doubts.
doubts? And SK, any doubts?
No doubts.
So are you cleared about my? I completed 7 lessons and 2 blocks I complete. Vamsi Krishna, any doubt regarding my lecture?
No, sir. All is clear.
SK and Vamsi Krishna, Ravali. So any doubts? Any questions?
No questions.
Questions to me?
No, sir.
Hello, answer to me. Any questions? Right? Shall I leave, Krishna? Ravali? SK. Shall I leave?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt? Vamsi Krishna? So, anything else to share to me? Vamsi Krishna? Ravali? SK? Anything else to share to me?
Nothing, sir.
Yes?
Nothing, sir.
Nothing. Are you clear about my lecture? Are you
Yes, sir.
understanding?
Yes, sir.
Topics. So,
New topic is clear, sir.
see, here time is very short, so that I am going with a very speed. So, even then I covered all the aspects. Right, Om Shri Krishna?
Yes,
I am leaving.